From here in the base screen, we are looking at the Service Manager. The default root menu for it starts with just the trails. Now, below the trails, we have our additional setup, which would be designed for our application, be it add drop multiplexer, or whether it's an optical carrier service, which would be our GCC or DCN setups, as well as our sub layer, which includes our ODU layer of activity. What we're going to do is we're going to start the process to create a track service, and you'll see where it populates the OCS portion of our tree. First thing we need to do is create our customer. I'm going to call mine Test or Tester. Give him the name Joe Tester. Then we go to Tester and we create the service. This is the same as in the prior versions of this NM. This is exclusive to the R7 product. New service. As a track service, we simply need a DCN facility that can be attached to it. So I'm going to give this one I'm going to call it track service. Then we get to our root of our network. And we choose the devices that we know contain those potential resources. This would make available almost every core level ADVA device, like a 4TCC or 2WCC card, but it secondarily makes our other DCN items available, like our OSCM. So we'll start off with something simple, like a WCC card. I know I have them in Singapore, and I know I have them at Morpheus. So what I'll do is I'll build a path to that device, or between those two devices. Deliberately choosing my working path. I'm choosing it through a node that is not necessarily connected between the two. However, it's simply a pass-through point, be it on our working or our protect side of our ring. It doesn't really matter, as long as it's in the physical path. Now we should get our cards that are DCN capable. The two WCC cards are capable of GCC, and so are the WCC cards. The OSCM card is capable of OSC as its DCN. So we'll pick our appropriate cards. In this case, we'll keep it simple. So D02 to D02. We hit next. Here are our available resources. From here, we can select within each of these shelves whichever devices we'd like to monitor in the process. And we can do that for even non-related or non-path critical devices. For example, there's a ROADM at the second site that is serving as a customer drop in C-select mode. That ROADM has absolutely nothing to do with our primary path. But because of a track service's nature of simply checking hardware in the flow, then I'm going to pick a piece of hardware that's along the way, however not part of this primary path. And so at one end I'm grabbing my post amps, at the opposite end I'm grabbing my preamps, and yet right in the center I'm grabbing a ROADM that has nothing to do with my pre or my post amps at either endpoints. I go through the last summary screen, letting me know what I've selected in summation. and then I finish. Wait for it to calculate my completed service. Now that I see the icon here with the three colors, gray, blue, and red, and the green confirmation at the bottom, I know that my service has been successfully billed. So if we look back at our tree, we'll see that track service, and you'll see it listed as an OCS. If you look at your default trails that were listed, our OCS are still, this time still present. However, this time it's populated with the information from my new service. If you look back after selecting that service, look back at your map or topology view, you'll notice that we now have some additional information here. We have our OCS layer and we have our physical layer. This is a breakdown of our point-to-point or our path of our track service, as well as the physical layer or sectional build of our track service. We can now also see the status of that service by simply selecting the line for the service at either layer, then selecting events, and we see the detail behind that service. Now, as the service implies, it tracks the health of the hardware, so we should also be able to see what's going on with that hardware for that service.